Hello everyone, welcome back to another brand new episode of Learn English with Podcast. I'm your host, Adam.
And I'm Emma. We are absolutely thrilled to have you here with us today. Whether you are driving to work, drinking your morning coffee, or relaxing at home, thank you for making us a part of your day.
That's right, if you are new to our channel, this is the place where we help you improve your English listening, expand your vocabulary, and at the same time, talk about topics that actually matter for your life.
And today, Adam, we are launching something very special, aren't we?
Yes, we are. Today marks the very first episode of our new sub-series called The Mindset Shift. In this series, we are going to explore how changing the way you think can completely alter your reality, your career, and your personal growth.
Oh, I love that concept, Adam. The mindset shift. You know, the word mindset is so popular these days. For our listeners, let's break it down. Your mindset is basically the collection of thoughts and beliefs that shape your habits, and your habits dictate your life.
Exactly. And to kick off this series, we are tackling our monster, a huge obstacle that stops millions of people from ever reaching their true potential. We are talking about the fear of failure.
Wow. The fear of failure. That is something everyone, and I mean everyone, has faced at some point. Let's dive deep into this today.
So, Emma, let's start with a little personal reflection. Can you remember a time in your life when you were absolutely terrified of failing at something, to the point where you almost didn't do it?
Oh, definitely. I think back to when I first decided to learn public speaking and content creation. Before I recorded my very first video, I sat in front of the camera for 2 hours without saying a single word. My heart was racing, my hands were sweating, and my mind was screaming. What if you look stupid? What if your English isn't perfect? What if people leave negative comments?
That is so relatable, Emma. That feeling right there is what we call being paralyzed by fear. For our intermediate learners, the verb to paralyze literally means to make someone unable to move physically. But metaphorically, fear paralyzes your mind. It freezes you in place.
Yes. And you know what the biggest irony is, Adam?
Tell me.
The irony is that by refusing to try because we are afraid of failing, we actually guarantee our own failure. If you don't attempt to speak English because you're afraid of making a mistake, you fail to learn. If you don't apply for that dream job because you're afraid of rejection, you've already rejected yourself.
Wow, that is a powerful way to put it. You reject yourself. This actually connects perfectly to the work of a famous psychologist, Dr. Carol Dweck. She wrote a fantastic book called Mindset. She explains that people generally fall into two categories: a fixed mindset or a growth mindset.
Right. Let's explain the difference to our audience. Someone with a fixed mindset believes that their abilities, intelligence, and talents are just fixed traits. They think, I'm either good at math or I'm not. I'm either a natural English speaker or I'm not. So, when they fail, they see it as a definition of who they are. They think, I failed, therefore I am a failure.
Exactly. But someone with a growth mindset views the world through a completely different lens. They believe that talents and abilities can be developed through dedication, hard work, and feedback. To a person with a growth mindset, failure isn't a permanent label. It's just information. It's a signpost that says, okay, this specific strategy didn't work. Let's pivot and try a different angle.
That reminds me of one of my favourite stories about Thomas Edison, the inventor of the electric light bulb. Do you know how many times he failed before he successfully created a working light bulb?
I believe it was around 1,000 times, right?
Yes, about 1,000 unsuccessful attempts. And the story goes that a young reporter asked him, "Mr. Edison, how did it feel to fail 1,000 times?" And Edison replied, "I didn't fail 1,000 times. The light bulb was an invention with 1,000 steps."
That is the ultimate mindset shift. He didn't view those 1,000 attempts as defeats, he viewed them as an education. He learned 1,000 ways how not to make a light bulb.
Exactly. Another inspiring example is J.K. Rowling, the author of Harry Potter. Before her book was published, the manuscript was rejected by 12 different publishing houses. 12. Imagine if she had stopped at the 5th rejection, or the 10th. The entire world would have missed out on that magical story.
This is such a crucial lesson for our English learners. We know that many of you are preparing for exams like IELTS or trying to pass job interviews in English. Maybe you took the test before and didn't get the score you wanted. Or maybe you tried to speak to a native speaker and you froze up.
Please remember, that does not mean you are a failure. It just means you are on step 5 or step 20 of your own journey. Making mistakes is actually proof that you are trying. If you aren't making mistakes, it means you are staying inside your comfort zone and nothing grows there.
Beautifully said, Emma. Now, let's take a quick pause for our traditional vocabulary spotlight. We used some great phrases today that our listeners can add to their daily vocabulary.
First, we use the phrase to dive straight in. This means to start doing something suddenly and with a lot of energy. For example, let's dive straight into the lesson.
Second, we mentioned the word irony or ironic. It refers to a situation that is strange or funny because things happen in a way that seems the opposite of what you expected, like fearing failure so much that you cause yourself to fail.
And third, we used the expression comfort zone. This is a psychological state where a person feels familiar, safe, and at ease. But as the saying goes, life begins at the end of your comfort zone.
So, as we approach the end of today's episode, let's give our listeners 2 actionable steps they can take today to shift their mindset. Emma, what's step number 1?
Step 1 is to change your internal dialogue, your self-talk. Whenever you catch yourself asking, "What if I fail and look foolish?" force your brain to ask the opposite question. What if I succeed? What is the best case scenario? Redirect your imagination towards success.
And step 2 is to de-dramatize failure. Lower the stakes. If you want to practice speaking English, don't wait for a high-pressure situation. Record a 1-minute voice note for yourself or speak to your reflection in the mirror. Celebrate that small win. Action cures fear. The moment you move, the fear shrinks.
Absolutely. Well, that brings us to the close of our very first episode of The Mindset Shift. We hope this conversation gives you a little extra courage today.
We want to hear from you now. In the comments section below, tell us, what is one thing you have been putting off because of fear? And what is one tiny step you can take today to overcome it?
Thank you for listening. Thank you for learning with us. And don't forget to subscribe and share this episode with a friend who needs a mindset shift today.
Remember, personal growth is a journey, not a destination. Keep practicing, keep growing, and we will see you in the next episode.
Bye-bye, everyone.